Introduce everyone to, this is Leigh Perry in Evansville, Indiana. I'm super excited to introduce everyone to Corey Wilson. I met Corey several years ago and we've maintained conversations back and forth. And he came to my Legal Shield Lunch and Learn on a Thursday. And he has a regular job. He also has started a new business with a friend. And I'm thrilled to tell you he's a professional salesperson and he gets it, John. He's following the system. He's really excited about Legal Shield. He leveled up to his next senior associate level in 22 days. Didn't quite make the 20 days, but he's still pushing for manager. He has his first new associate on board. He made PC for the first time, and he had his first private Zoom. So I'm super excited to introduce you all to Corey Wilson, and John has asked Corey that you just make a few comments.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Leigh, and thank you, John, for having me. Super excited to be on this tonight. Yeah, like Leigh said, we've been in contact for years, and finally sat down and met with her. And I believe my exact comment was, "Well, this is a no-brainer. Everybody should have it, and I want to sell it too." And so yeah, we kind of hit the ground running. Super grateful to be here and be part of the team.
All right, Leigh, you're muted.
There we go. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Corey. I know things are moving forward, and John, I know you'll want to celebrate because he has another member and associate that'll be signing up in the next couple of days. Back to you, sir.
Well, thanks so much, Leigh. Corey, congratulations. Welcome aboard. And, two things I heard there. And by the way, I've been with this program over 25 years. Number one, I heard Leigh say he's following the system. And that's just music to anybody's ears because the system is proven and works. That says a lot about you. And you said no brainer. And I got to tell you, for everyone on here, in my years here, a lot of people come in and say, this seems like such a no brainer. I felt that way. Probably most people on here felt that way. And so I get it. And I agree with you. Here's the reality, though. A lot of people won't feel that way. A lot of people don't get it. A lot of people get it over time once they've gotten the service and used it, and it's helped them with different things. That certainly happened with me. And so, yeah, we agree on here. It is a no-brainer. And finally, I commend you, Leigh, for, I think you had said that, or Corey might have said it, you've known each other a long time and just staying in touch. And you do such a great job, Leigh. And Corey, Leigh's amazing. I first met her at a luncheon many, many years ago in Evansville, and she's been amazing. But there have been times she's said to me, John, I'm not following this system. So she's become someone who really understands the power of that. So kudos and congratulations. Okay, well, I put out in my LS Engage message for those who saw it that tonight we were going to have some discussion really around two things. And let me kind of set the stage because I know I'm talking to an audience of brand new people like Corey, and then other people I'm seeing on here, John Bradley, you and I go back, probably 20 years, Brian Deli, I've known a long time, Brenda, known since about 2009. And so the two things I want to talk about is, first of all, this monthly Zoom. So we do this once a month, the first Sunday of the new month. And really the purpose is to come together, to regroup, to look at what got announced at the beginning of the month with the Legal Shield Communication Show, to talk about what's coming up, to kind of set a rudder and do that once a month. So what I want to talk about is, first of all, my situation. And many of you have known me and seen me at a time when I was full out and building this business. And did that for years and years and years, first in Michigan, and some people on here are from Michigan. And then in Kentucky, several are on here from Kentucky. Others are on from Illinois, where I worked with Timmer Halligan. And by the way, Timmer is out of range right now. He should be joining us at some point because I want him weighing in. But back to my situation, those who have known me know I have not been actively working and building the business like I did for years and years and years, for about 20 years. Then I started to take a bit of a new path about 4 years ago after medical diagnosis. And I took my first sabbatical and about 20 years in the business. Then I ended up, my wife and I decided to move from Kentucky to New Hampshire to be near our grandkids. When I moved, I'd been coming off of a surgery, got moved out here, and COVID hit. I got asked to be the network vice president for New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont, which I did for close to a year. But other things were happening. My wife and I started some other businesses. I wrote a book. Many of you are familiar with the Tao of Network Marketing. I started a personal development company. Those of you who know what I've always taught is that there are 3 keys to success. One is showing up. So you've all done that tonight. One is activity. That's true in anything we do. And one is personal growth and development. And I started a personal growth platform and site. And that's really been my passion for a long, long time. And in network marketing, it's absolutely key. Personal growth, growing oneself. And so my attention did go off of Legal Shield. And again, most of you know that. And with that, it's at a time now where I'm not feeling capable or able to maintain making sure this event happens once a month. I know a lot of people can do that, but it's been me for a long time, and Timmer a lot. And there was a time, Jane, you and Leigh and Annette, Linda had helped make this event happen. So that's one thing I want to talk about. And I want to do it here on this event to get input from folks, because I want to pass the torch, if you will, to have somebody responsible for this, and whether or not it's monthly or quarterly or on an as-need basis. But I'm going to leave it up to you guys, because I do not feel in any kind of integrity in trying to do that, given at this point in what I'm doing, I'm not an active builder in the business. So I don't feel like that's appropriate. So the next thing I want to talk about is the morning stretch call. But before we do that, let's stay here, because I at least want you to weigh in, and especially those who have been around. If you're brand new, it's hard to formulate at this point, well, what's this Zoom even about? And you don't have the history maybe. So those who do have the history, I want to put it out there. And Timmer and I did discuss this, by the way. And so since he's not been able to come on, and I do think he'll make it on, but his basic statements to me were very, very similar to mine to you. He is not only running his tennis club, but now is about to be a grandfather. His grandchild will be in England. He intends to be doing quite a bit of travel and just a lot of responsibilities, where he is not at a place to say, no problem, John, I'll step up and run this and make sure it's happening every month. So with that, let me go ahead, and Leigh, you got your hand raised. Go ahead. You start us out with any comments and thoughts.
Well, John, you had mentioned that Annette and Jane and I had taken that role in the past, and we have discussed it, and we're willing to step up and lead this call and do it on a monthly basis for Sunday of the month, so that it gives us an opportunity to review, as we've done most recently, what the updates are from corporate, because all 3 of us are actively building team. And so we had already had the discussion about heading that direction. So if you're going to pass the baton, we'll pick it up, man.
All right. And I think you said you and Jane and Annette.
Yes, sir. It would be the triumvirate, the trifecta.
All right. Well, I'll send 3 batons out. Now, the beauty of that, and thank you, is because you're proven, you've done it before, you're good at it, you're all pros. And anyone new to this platform, they're all pros. Leigh Perry, Jane Lehman, who's got the heart up on her screen, and Annette Szobar. And interesting as I was going to say, as I'm talking about the 3 of you, Jane, I know you did like I did. You moved out of Michigan, moved out of state. You moved to Texas. That was many years ago. Annette, I know you moved out of Illinois, moved down to Mississippi a few years ago. And the thing we all have in common is migrating from one marketplace to another and showing up there in a big way. I mean, Jane, those who know Jane, she's involved in so many ways in the market, and she's lived a couple places now in Texas, but she's so connected in so many ways with so many people. And then Annette, I know you've gotten awards where you are, and I did the same thing in Louisville. So I bring this up because it just proves. Years ago, I heard Eric Worre in a training say that he could parachute in any town in America and not know anyone and build a business. Well, I did that. Jane did that. Annette's doing that. And Leigh, you're doing that in a market where when you came on board, there was a couple people in Evansville who, frankly, you became their mentor. So thank you. And so going forward, which will be the January team Zoom, it's in your hands to direct that however you want to, communicate that however you want to, lead that however you want to. And I will leave you with this. I will always be available if you reach out to me and say, hey, we'd really love to hear your insights on doing testimonies or building a list or language or anything from any of the chapters in my book. Because the thing I love and will continue to do as long as I'm capable of is coach and teach and train and work in personal development, because those are the things I've always just loved to do. All right, so before we move to the next topic, do any of you who are on here have any questions or comments?
Yes.
Go
Just
ahead, Jane.
what you just said, John, it's been so long since we've done your list building exercise. That would be a phenomenal thing to start the year with, the first Sunday in January.
Okay, well,
right.
You 3 can put your heads together, and there'd be a lot of ways to do that, whether you reach out to me or not, or bring it up on YouTube and take people through it. That there's a lot of ways you can do that. So appreciate that.
Yeah, the live one's good.
Well, and John, I think what we'll do too, just FYI for everybody, watch the Team Ascent Facebook group. And if you're not on there actively, be sure and get on there in the next couple of days, and we'll offer an opportunity for you to respond if you're interested in assisting.
Great. So Leigh, will you put that in the chat, the Team Ascent Facebook group? And
Yes, sir. I'll go grab it now.
okay.
John, can you hear me? It's Brenda.
Yeah, Brenda, go ahead.
Number one, I'm ecstatic. These 3 individuals, I consider them superwomen. And I wish I could say, yeah, put me up there with them, but I'm not, as you know, actively building. So I know there's a lot of planning. That's their personal time. And all 3 of these individuals are just incredible leaders in our organization. And I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. And if I can help them anyway, I will.
You'll be hearing from us.
Thanks so much, Brenda. And I mean, you've certainly done incredible things for this organization over time. And you are right. These 3 are amazing. And also, Brenda brought up the point, gee, maybe I can't do that, but implied, hey, maybe I can help out in some other way. And I do encourage that of everybody. I mean, it's just how you grow in this business. So whether you're helping to promote or, do music or testimony or whatever they may be asking of you, there's a lot of parts that go into putting on a good Zoom. Anybody else on this topic?
Well, I'm open to adding something if I may.
Please.
I know all of you don't know me. And John, I appreciate your sending me an email and inviting me on the call. As you know, I probably talked to Mr. Hoffman. And I just want to say some things because none of you know me. Like who is this girl here? Anyhow, Jane, I think I've seen you on some calls. I've been with Legal Shield without any lapse of coverage for 21 years. I've had, back when it was Legal Shield forever ago, been with the company and used the product so much over the years. There would be like times, there'd be a couple years in there where we wouldn't use it, but we never let it go because I knew the power of having this. And over the past couple of years, I've moved a lot and now I live in Texas. So Jane, maybe we could talk. I live in Georgetown, which is north of Austin. And just these past couple of years with moving and stuff, I've used the product several times. And the law firm in Texas is excellent. This is my opinion. And it came to me being here, and I've, gone through a lot of different things in life. And I thought, maybe I should start sharing Legal Shield with people. So, although I've been with the company, I haven't been building, I haven't been doing anything. So I'm like a noob, as my son would call me, who's 19, right? I don't know what's going on, and I'm trying to gather information, and I'm really trying to figure out, is this worth my time? Because I've done network marketing in the past and I love it. And I think it's a great business model, but I know how much work it takes. And I think, shoot, is this worth my time? And although I love the products, I don't understand the commission fully. I don't understand the residuals. All I know is the product. And I don't really even know what to do. So I'm just grateful, John. I had to call the company and say, who's my immediate upline? Because I had no idea. I actually came in the business in Michigan forever ago. I couldn't even tell you who enrolled me. It was so long ago. Actually, she's not in the business anymore. But John, you were so far up. I had to keep asking them, who's my upline? Who's my upline? And then I got you and then Mr. Hoffman. So that's how I'm here. And I just appreciate everyone listening to me ramble. And I would love if anyone has anything to add. And Jane, I don't know where you are in Texas, but if you're open to it, I'd love to connect.
Look at the chat.
Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, so Jane said, look at the chat. First of all, Leigh did put the Team Ascent Facebook link in there.
Okay.
So, and by the way, you weren't rambling there. That was really succinct. You had a lot of good things to say. You come up as Hilly. Hilly, what is your name?
Hold on, I'm looking at the chat. Let me close that down. My legal name is Hillary, but I go by Hilly.
Okay.
I've been going by Hilly for about a year. So that's
Where
what
do you live in
to.
Michigan?
I lived in Downriver and
Okay.
Trenton, Michigan.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I've also lived in New Hampshire. My son was born in Nashua, New Hampshire. So I know you're up in New England. We lived in Nashua. My husband worked in Massachusetts. So we lived up there for a while too. Love it up there. And now I'm in Texas. But I spent a lot of years in Georgia, Florida. So now I'm in Texas and it's nice. I'm liking it.
Great. Well, you're a nomad like a lot of us, sitting around. What is your last name, Hillary? So I'm able to look you up inside my Gmail.
Okay, it's Gronis, G-R-O, and like Nancy, A-S.
Okay.
G-R-O-N-A-S.
Got it. So you asked the big question, and first of all, yeah, a lot of us really get when you move, Legal Shield's value goes up. I know when I moved to New Hampshire, I used it probably 6 times in the first 6 days and got all kinds of help. You made that point, but You asked the question, I've not really worked the business. Now I'm asking the question, is it worth my time? You could ask a million people who've been associates and get a million different answers because everybody's different. Everybody comes in different. Everybody applies themselves differently. Everybody has different experiences. So a lot of people are going to say, it's really worth your time. And here are the reasons you'll hear. This service is so valuable. It helps so many people. You get rewarded financially. You can add to your future retirement funds. You could build this into full-time income. You can, get paid on a daily basis. You can earn trips for you and your spouse or whoever you want to take to amazing places. You can meet people. You can gain skills. The list goes on and on and on. So I think the overall answer from people on here, I can't speak for every person, but I think they'd say, yeah, it's worth it. So how do you build the business? Plug in. And that's what you've done tonight. So even tonight, you're meeting people, you're seeing faces, you're gaining ground tonight. You have to gain ground on a regular basis. That's why you show up. You have to do the activity or you'll never earn anything or make any progress. And we highly, highly recommend everybody practice personal growth, personal development, so you grow yourself. It's hard to grow your income if you're not growing yourself. And a simple starting point is read 10 pages a day of a good book. All right, so I'm looking here at Leigh Perry put in the chat. Three-legged stool. Okay, that's what I was just talking about. Okay, so with that, welcome aboard, Hillary. I now want to move to the next. I'm checking my time here. Okay. I want to move to the next topic. It is related. Some of us have already been in communication on it. If you're newer, I want to lay a little groundwork. In 2009, I remember it like it was yesterday. I went on our family's annual vacation to Canada in the month of August and basically turned off all my communications. I don't go there to be on cell phones and internet and don't have that access. Well, I came back, and as soon as I hit the US, I turned on my phone and it had blown up. People were so excited about what was happening, what the company announced, some bonuses, and some things that were going to happen at our Las Vegas convention in that September of 2009. I agreed with everything they said. It was so hot that me and some leaders decided, let's start a morning call as a way to communicate effectively with everybody. We started that in August of 2009. The event I was referencing happened in September. And when we got back, our minds were blown. We got fire hosed, a lot of great information. So we put out to people, we're going to keep this call going because there was so much new, so much to be in front of. And we decided to do that through Thanksgiving and then to the end of the year. And then we went out to people and said, okay, we've ingested all this, we've implemented. Do you guys want to keep doing this call? And it was like 100% yes, yes, yes across the board. And at that point, Brenda, that's about the time you came in the business. And we kept that call going through 2010 and 11. And what happened is it grew and it took on different forms and it gave value in different ways. And then all of a sudden we started seeing people from other teams coming on. And through the years, we've seen hundreds and hundreds of people come and go. That's the natural flow of this business. Others have stayed here, like John Bradley. You've been on this from the beginning. And then we saw other teams start to do their own calls because they heard about this in different ways. And so now here we are. Holy cow. It's 2023, 14 years. Well, in that time, and we've gone through everything that's happened in that time period. I will tell you, this team is mature. We've got a lot of baby boomers, and in the last year and a half to 2 years, about 6 people who were regular on our morning call passed away. Others have kind of come and gone. And a call that at one time had 40 and 50 people every single morning at 8 a.m. Eastern now averages more like 10. It is a commitment to do that call. Somebody's hosting every single morning. I know I've done it since 2009. You know, Jane's hosted countless times. Others on here have hosted. Well, I'm going back to what I said to you earlier. You know, I've been willing to host every other Tuesday. I'm still willing to host once in a while, but I know, Jane, you've had to step away from that. It's become very hard for Timmer to do that. So I want to put out there what some conversations have been. Is it time to look at making this a 3-day-a-week call or a Monday, Friday? Our Friday call, I've always said it on the call, it's my favorite because we celebrate and we give gratitude and thanks, and it's powerful. To me, it's medicinal. And I know Lynn Schuessler-Williams, who is a wizard at leading that call, is willing to keep doing it. We could just do a Friday call to kind of give thanks and congratulate our weeks. But I want to hear from each of you because, again, I am not going to continue to be the person that says, here's what we're doing, here's how it's happening. I will always advise someone in charge if you want to pick my brain, but I'm not going to be the one going forward that is making those calls. So, Robert, I see you, and then Annette, you. Go ahead, Robert.
Thank you, John. Like any other organization, this stretch call has gone up and down, and at the moment it's on a bit of a downbeat. But I think it is so important that it continue. Whether it's 5 days or 3 days, I don't care. But I have to say that without this call, I probably wouldn't be here. And it's been so important to me over the past few years, going through what I went through. So, you know, I'll support in any way I can. So thank you, John, for your service. I can tell that this is an emotional time for you, and I appreciate you, sir.
Well, thanks for those comments, Robert. And that's the kind of thing we're looking back for is input here. So not just me, but everyone here can hear that. So I appreciate you. Annette, how about you? Your hand was up, now it's down. Go ahead.
I was just lowering it to get it off the screen.
Okay.
I have loved the stretch call as well, but I have been finding my schedule has been increasingly hard for me to get on it. I like the idea of a Monday, Friday, start off the week, end the week. I think we could have enough people that can volunteer to do those 2 days and see how that goes for a while. And maybe, you know, we could do something midweek later on if the 2 days a week works out.
All right, thanks for that input. And I saw Jane doing this when you were talking. Okay, anyone else?
John, it's Brenda. I don't know what Leigh's situation is. I haven't conversed with Leigh, but I'd be more than glad first of the year to take the Monday call. I myself would like to have a Wednesday call. To me, the Friday call is strictly celebration. It's not much about really our business, but you know, we need to find someone to do the Wednesday call. That might not be it right now. Maybe just Monday and Friday. And I'm volunteering for Monday. I mean, I might not be the gal to do the Monday, so I'm sorry, but I'm available. I'll do it if, you know, no one wants to do it.
Okay, thanks. We'll keep gathering some information here. Then I want to share some thoughts. Who's next? Ted, go ahead. Ted, go ahead. You got on mute, Ted. Ted looks like he's saying something, but he's muted.
Ted, I don't think anybody muted you. Try *6, buddy.
Let me see if I can unmute him. All right. Anyone else? I'm sure he'll make it back.
Bet Good's
Paul.
here.
Go ahead, Bet, then Paul.
Not being connected to my team, this has been my connection and basically the company. So I get it that it's gone from 40 to 10. I get it. Folks are transitioning. I get it. Folks are moving on. But the little that I do is because of the community that's been built by the stretch call and the affirmations and the celebrations. So, yeah, I'm kind of like Robert, I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay. Back to
All right.
you.
Thank you, Vet. Before I go to Paul, Ted, you were muted. Are you hearing me? Can you unmute?
So here he can hear us, but we can't hear him.
Okay. Okay. Well, Ted, I don't know what to tell you there other than you can put stuff in the chat. You can go off, come back in, make sure you're set up where you've got the sound. Don't know what to tell you. So you can put comments in the chat, Ted, or I would suggest go off the Zoom, come back in and see if you can do it where you've got speaker volume. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, John. Yeah, the other day when it was first mentioned that we cut back on the days, I was kind of bummed because I absolutely love the stretch call. When granted the time difference for all of us, I'm usually have to set my alarm and wake up and be on at 6 a.m. and I often work crazy late hours, and so it's a challenge. But I love it all the time, and I'd hate to miss it. But then I started thinking in the last day here or so that with this team and the different time zones, a lot of you are they're heading out the door and you're on your way to work and you're driving and you got to pay attention to that. So I think it is a good idea to step back a little, and I think that'll end up maybe giving all of us more time to work on our business instead of being on a call. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Paul. Phyllis, you're up.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Vet, kind of like adopted on this team, and Team Ascent is one reason I am still doing Legal Shield, because in South Dakota there was zero connection to any team of any kind. And we have since started a Monday call with my team in Minnesota. But this is really a call that I jump on. Very seldom do I miss. And so it's been a great help. And I appreciate all the effort that everybody has put in on that. And if we drop, to 1 or 2 days a week, I will definitely miss it. But I do appreciate everybody's time and effort that they've put into it.
All right, really great input, everybody. I do want to ask Leigh. Leigh, are you willing, if we go with, let's say, Monday, Friday, are you willing to keep your role for Monday, knowing that if you can't make it, there's a handful of people you could reach out to?
Well, John, I had actually touched base with Annette and Jane to see if they'd each take a Monday, because we know that Lynn does Friday so well, and Paul subbed for her, and Georgette, as she put in the Team Ascent group, didn't die when she did the call this past week or the week before, and she did an awesome job. I understand I can't be on in the middle of the week, so I would be happy to coordinate. It has become increasingly more difficult for me to be on every single Monday. So if we could share that responsibility, and Jane and Annette and have agreed that they would do that, and we feel pretty strongly that Georgette would, and of course Brenda just stepped up too, as far as that goes. So we'd be covered.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Leigh. And I know Brenda has offered to take a morning. I know Georgette implied that, and yes, she did a great job.
Maybe Georgette and I could do Wednesday. And
So
I think this is, and John, I think, and also the success of our call depends on interaction. And I think that's what's challenging, and what few times in my history of hosting the call is the silence. And yes, we know that silence is good and people are thinking, but it's just and we hear people get on to listen. But that's not the purpose of the call. We have to have everybody has got to participate. I have not been working the business for over the year, but I would still try to say something. When people must be reminded that you might not think what you have to say is important, but man, it is to someone else, or someone else says, wow, she's in the same boat as me. So I can work, I'll work any day with, if we pick up a third day, but I'm out there, and yes, so and yeah.
So there's no question the value of people sharing is valuable to the call. It's important. Part of it is our numbers aren't when there were 40 people, it was a fight. It was a race to get in there and try and keep it inside 30 minutes. And we can always invite and encourage people to share. We can't dictate it, mandate it, and make it happen. And so I respect those that can only listen. Maybe it's because they're driving, they're working, they can't talk. I understand all that. So that's a challenge of it. So I
had one more thing I wanted to share,
go ahead,
John.
Leigh.
And I think that we all need to, I realize that it's, the number one thing that humans need is connection. We found that especially during the pandemic. There's no question about that. And while I appreciate that, we need to decide what the purpose of the call is. If the purpose of the call is strictly connection, that's fine. But if the purpose of the call is for us to build our businesses and we're actively working our Legal Shield businesses, that's a little bit different ballgame. And that's where we really need people stepping up, participating. If you're setting goals, talking about it. If you're not making them, talking about it. But if it's going to be a Legal Shield call and we're working our businesses, that's a different call than just a, hey, warm fuzzy, make a connection. And I'm fine either way, but I think we need, and I don't know who we is going to be, John, but I think we need to determine what the purpose of the call is. I mean, we know Friday is celebration. That's great. If we want to make Wednesday connection and Monday motivation, that's fine. But we just need to all be clear on what the purpose of the call is. So when we invite people on, they know what they're getting themselves into. Other teams have book clubs. And so they get motivational speakers on that have written books, and they do a book for a month. And then other teams, like Team Pinnacle meets every Monday night, and they're doing presentations and getting people fired up. Different teams have different calls that we can all plug into too. I just think we need to be clear on what our purpose is each of the days that we choose to do it. That's it. Back to you, sir.
Okay, and those are great comments. Before we go on, I know we're going long here, but it's to get this worked out. So I appreciate everyone staying on and commenting. Many of you know that for a long while, the call really focused on our business. And for quite a while, we went through where Monday, we would set intentions. Tuesday, we talk about showing up. Wednesday, talking about our activity. Thursday, our personal development. And we would have scorecards and credibility or accountability. And frankly, that pushed some people away. Now you might say, well, then they didn't want to build the business. But what happened over time was that focus on building the business moved toward more relational. And I was fine with that because that's what the crowd was basically wanting. And I think that had to do, that got stronger with COVID. So right now, without having defined it, I think any of you who are on regularly would say the call's more about connection and relationship than building your business, but it's got aspects of both and, promotions. So I'm cool with what you said, Leigh. I won't be the one deciding that for you all. Hilly, it looked like you had something to say.
Yeah, thanks, John. So, just coming back and trying to figure this out and really having no idea what's going on around here. I think what would be great is when you're brand new, to really kind of dial into stuff. Cause I know there's an app. I have to call the company to figure out how to download it, what to do with it. I don't understand the commissions, the residuals. I don't, so I don't understand. I don't understand the product. I mean, there's a lot to learn when you're just new or you're coming back. Although I've used the product for so many years, in terms of the business, I have no idea what's going on. And
Yeah.
so I think to have calls to really, get in deep with, some of the serious parts, that would be really helpful. Like a training calls on specific aspects of the business. Right. So just so you're better. Right. I mean, again, I'm just adding some thoughts because there's a lot I have to learn. And right now I have to, and like Jane, thank you so much for sending that message, because I'm thinking I have to call the company, right? And talk to the people at headquarters, because I'm kind of like out here on an island and I don't really know what to do. So a lot of people come in and that maybe they feel like me. But again, I don't know the training. So I'm just adding some thoughts.
So you're bringing up great thoughts that are certainly appropriate for a new person having access to training and training calls, et cetera. That's not what this has been about. In fact, with this call, we've typically said don't invite brand new people because they're not ready for it. They're better off coming on the stretch call once they've done like what Corey's done, who we heard at the beginning of the call, who is, they've stepped into the business, they've gotten some things done. And the other thing, we haven't wanted to overwhelm people where they feel like, well, if I have to be on a call 5 mornings a week to have success, I can't do this. Therefore, Hilly, the morning call we're talking about does not have that component of starting a new person. Although at one time we had more of that when we had like 40 to 50 people on, because we'd have a lot more new people. So for you specifically, I'm going to search and see who's between me and you in the genealogy and see who I can make sure is helping you, so you're not feeling like I got to call a company to find out what to do. That's not something you have to do, but give me like 24 hours to work on that.
Yeah, well, they couldn't give me anyone, John. That I said, can you tell me someone who's actively working?
That doesn't mean I can't help you. So,
well,
Let me-
I kind of asked for someone who's has a team and has been with the company a long time. Can you tell me who that person would be?
Hilly,
that-
there's also another way to do this. I'm regional manager in Evansville, and it's part of the Mighty Midwest, as is
Okay.
Michigan. So I can, as John looks, this way for you, I can look this way for you. So we
Okay.
can plug you in with multiple people, and there's some other calls that we can help you hook up with, and also the online training to get
Right.
you what you need as far as product knowledge. So John, I'll do that and copy both of you on that information.
Yeah, but I
Great.
think this
Hilly,
is great. I love the interaction, and
yeah.
it's very powerful.
Hilly, will you please put your email and your cell number in the chat so
Yes,
we
sir.
can reach back to you right now?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
Leigh, for that. And so I appreciate what they told you at the company, Hilly. That doesn't mean I can't get answers beyond what they're capable of. And there are other ways, or there are sources for plugging in without going to the company to say, what do I do? So between Leigh and I, we'll get that to you. All right. Annette, and we're going to start to wrap this up on the morning stretch call. Annette, go ahead.
We also have the Shield Nation Zoom. We're part of that, and that's every Monday night, and that's more training as well.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring that up too, because that's one reason we moved our weekly Zoom on Sunday night to monthly. So we do have another resource. It's called Shield Nation. So for all of you, if you've not been on shieldnation.com, that's John and Darcy Hoffman, they're platinums. They have a lot of resources. And I know that their Monday night Zoom has basically been Jane, aren't you and a couple of our team kind of leading that at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Leigh
And
Annette.
that's because we saw, and when I say we, I saw it, but Jane took action on it, a need to strengthen that Zoom. And our teams had a big influence on that. So that is also a resource. What I want to propose here, and it's based on things I heard before this Zoom and things I'm hearing tonight, is we move to a Monday motivation stretch call, which is what we've had, so no change to Monday. And then we have a Friday celebration call, which we've already had, no change there. And make the change to eliminate Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday stretch call and see how that goes, and start that not tomorrow, but start that a week from tomorrow to give time to communicate with people what we're doing. And then let the village speak. If going into the new year, people are feeling like, if we added Wednesday, we need Wednesday, and the people want to step up, like we're hearing Brenda, Georgette, maybe add that back in. We can always add back in. And then we also there is a Saturday morning affirmation call that people love. So that's also there as a form of connection as well. So anyhow, some of you are on the camera. If you like the idea of going to the Monday, Friday, starting a week from tomorrow, will you just do this? Okay, I'm seeing the majority are doing that. If you like the idea that at some point we could revisit adding in, let's say, Wednesday, you good with that? Okay.
No, John, can I say
But
something?
before you do, Brenda, because so many people are not on camera, could you put in the chat, if you're not on camera, just what your preference is, or do you like Monday, Friday, or what I just proposed? All right, Brenda, go ahead.
John, I mean, I totally understand Annette, Leigh, and Jane. I mean, they are business builders. They are working their business, and their mornings they're loaded. I also understand Paul and the time difference. That's why maybe the Wednesday call can be for those individuals that are like maybe Robert Bagley, myself, and that maybe Georgette. That could be a good call for us that, we have the desire. We're not doing it yet, but, and then, our superheroes that are actually doing it, they don't need to be on that Wednesday call. So, it's like we're kind of cheerleaders. We're not doing even though we want to do the business, we're not there yet. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe that Wednesday call could be for those people.
Well, I see no harm in saying this week, as we discuss this with people on the call, that we're going to Monday, Friday, and then there's also a group that would like that mid-month or midweek call. Brenda Daniels is going to lead that. And Brenda, if you can't lead it, you can get Georgette or Vet or someone else to lead it, Robert as well. And you can have responsibility for it and see how that goes. I think that's a good idea, given what you just said and what we heard those others say. So tomorrow, Leigh, Perry, if you could share tomorrow what got discussed here and what we're doing effective a week from tomorrow. So this week will be the norm. So this week, Leigh, it'll be you tomorrow. Annette, it's my turn again on Tuesday. Do you agree with that? That's what, because you did 2 in a row and then I did 1. And
Actually, I had me down for Tuesday, but you can have Tuesday.
well, the other thing, so Lynn's got Friday. Who's got Wednesday and Thursday this week?
Brenda's going to do Thursday this week because I can't be on.
So Brenda, you're set for Thursday this week?
Here, I'll do Thursday, yes.
Okay, so Wednesday,
I'll do Wednesday.
No, Wednesday you're doing, Brenda. I'm Wednesday. Timmer's Thursday, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Right, you're
All right.
Wednesday.
so I'll take Tuesday. Brenda, you've got Wednesday. If Timmer cannot do Thursday, Annette, can you do Thursday this week?
No, Thursday's out for me.
Okay, and then Lynn will do Friday. Robert, I'm seeing your hand. You'll do Thursday?
I'll be yeah.
Okay, well, Timmer may be doing it. I'm not sure, but I'll be communicating with him. So we got this week to communicate with everyone so that next week there's no confusion. Okay. With that, I was in the process of getting Hilly's phone number, 737-341-6632. All right, with that, thank you everyone for hanging in there tonight, for giving your input, for everything you're doing. And does anyone have any final comments?
Save the chat if you need the information, folks.
And for those want to weigh in more on the morning stretch call, it is at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. It is on our team calendar, which is successpartnerscalendar.com. I'm putting that in the chat right now. And I will have Alice update the calendar effective next week. And then finally, back to Jane, Leigh, Annette, you have the January team Zoom for Sunday of January. All right, everyone.
Woohoo!
Well, I want to end this by saying I'm always available if you want to call for a three-way, or you feel like you need a little bit of individual coaching or want me to weigh in on something. I'll never not be here for something like that. So with that, see you on the stretch call.
Thanks so much, John, for everything.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks. Good night.